Welcome everyone in this new live development video about building an auto battle game. In this video we're going to start building the in-game states logic with the recruitment phase and combat phase alternates. So the game state is going to take care of starting the recruit phase, and then it's going to start timer, and we're going to switch to the combat phase, etc, etc. So that's basically, in our tech design, that's basically the start of the in-game state logic. So let's dive right in, I guess. Let's create a new folder in our game states, game system folder. Go there, let's create a new enumerator, game phase. We're going to open that up, and we're going to create new game phases. The first one is going to be none. The second one is going to be recruitment, and the third one is going to be combat, and we might have another one which is going to be like endgame or postgame. We don't care. Endgame, we're not going to use this for now. It's just a matter of thinking ahead. So recruitment and combat, we're going to call that recruit because we're going to use a recruit, so we want that to be similar. And I guess we could say it's cool. And so the game state, let's open up our in-game state. This is gonna have a new variable which is gonna be game phase, current phase, I guess. Current phase is gonna be a game phase. It's gonna be none by default. And then what do we want to do? We want to say that so we're gonna build the logic, and we're gonna leave we're gonna build the logic to switch from one phase to another, but we're not going to do much in these. For now, we're not going to do much when we switch phase. We're just gonna move the player camera, and we'll see if if switching from one phase to another works in multiplayer. So that's it. So we're going to create a new function, which is going to be called, I guess, switch phase, or go to game phase, and this is going to take a parameter, which is going to be a game phase parameter, in new phase, like this. And what do we want to do here? First thing we want to do, for instance, is doing this. Current phase is the new phase we're switching to, and in here, when we start, we want to go to the recruit phase right away, for instance. So we need something to reflect what phase we're in, so we're going to open up our in-game HUD, and in here we're going to add a new text for now. In the canvas panel, at the top of the screen, and if we play, does it work? Yeah, we do have that. It's going to be sized to its contents, and in here we're gonna. So the in-game HUD is going to tie himself up to the game states. So I guess in the tech design we specified that the shop was created by the in-game player controller, and it was tied to the in-player state. And actually, I think that is going to be our in-game HUD instead of our shop. And maybe the shop is going to be contained within the in-game HUD, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we don't want everything tied up to the game state. So when this is being created, we want to grab the game state, and we want to cast that into in-game state. We want to promote that into a variable, game state reference. We want to check if that variable is valid. If it's not, we're going to do this. If it is, we're going to return it. We're going to remove this, get game states ref, paste that here. We're going to add the return node like this, and we want to pull that in here. This is going to be the return value. It's going to be pure, like this. So when the game starts, we want to bind ourselves to the game states, to the events in the game state. So when that begins, we want to bind ourselves, so we're going to grab that. So we're going to need a new event dispatcher, dispatch on new phase started, and this is gonna throw a game phase in a new phase like this. Go to phase. When we go there, we're going to call this for now new phase recruit. The in-game HUD is gonna bind itself to that new dispatcher we just created. On enter new phase, I think we're gonna do it this way for now. In new phase like this, and we're gonna update that text phase. So we might do it a bit differently afterwards, but for now it's gonna be a quick way to debug what we want. We're gonna make that string, enum to string. We're gonna pull this here, and what do we want to do here? We want to create an event, and on enter new phase, text block. So I guess I know why. That's because it's already been set when we bind ourselves. So we want to bind ourselves to the game state, but we also want to enter a new phase just in case it's already set. So we are in recruit phase. So that's you got them right. We are in recruit phase. So what do we want to do? Actually, we will do a new function, go to recruit phase, like this. We're going to go to phase, remove this, go to recruit phase. We're going to switch on this. In new phase, if we want to go to recruit, we're going to do this. Recruit. Yeah, like this. And we'll go to combat phase afterwards. And we'll have a new function set recruit phase timer, launch phase timer maybe, and it's gonna ask for a float, timer duration, set timer by event, and we're gonna have a new function on phase timer end, like this. Yeah, so we want an event, we want to create that event on phase timer end. We want to promote that to a variable, phase timer. So when the timer ends, we're gonna need some categories there. Recruits, combat, launch phase timer. We're gonna put that in timer, like this. So when we start the recruit phase, we want to launch the phase timer for like 5 seconds. We don't care. Well, actually we do care, but like 2 seconds for now will do. So when we enter the recruit phase, we're gonna promote that to a variable, recruit phase duration. The recruit phase is gonna last for 2 seconds by default, for instance. So we are launching this. We are receiving on phase timer end. We want to check what phase we're in. And we want to go to phase. So if we were in recruit phase, we want to go to combat phase, and if we were in combat phase, we want to go to recruit phase. So the combat phase is gonna get started, and we just want to paste that here for now. So we are right now in combat phase. We want to pull that here. Actually, and we want to do better. We want to set phase like this. We want to pull that here, new phase like this, and we want to pull that here. Go to combat phase is gonna set combat, and it's gonna launch timer phase. and it's not gonna use a timer. Combat phase is not gonna use a timer. Actually it is. Actually it is. Max combat phase duration. It can use that. And for instance the maximum duration is gonna be like 60. But for the purpose of our test we're gonna put 3. So we're gonna launch the timer for that duration. Go to recruit phase, we don't want that anymore. We want set phase to recruit. And in the combat phase we want set phase to combat. Wait that. And if we're hitting play, we're in recruit phase. Now we're in combat phase. Recruit. Combat. And as you can see it's not synced. But it doesn't really matter, we'll sync that later. We just wanted to see the differences in the switch in the different phases. So when we start the recruit phase, we will have some kind of function which says match players. We will have another one which is like role shop pools, role player refresh player shops. So I want to close everything else but that. We want the event graph anyway, actually. So we want to match players, we want to refresh player shops, we want to generate income. That's where I want to be. So we want to generate income like this. And when the combat phase starts, we want to teleport player cameras. But right now, our logic to switch cameras is located pretty far away in the camera switcher widget. And I guess the in-game HUD, which has a reference to the game state, wants to do something easy. It wants to say that it wants to bind himself. So when we enter a new phase, the in-game HUD wants to switch on that. And if we are in combat phase, he wants to grab his camera switcher and teleport the player and request for a camera switch. So on camera entry clicked. So we want 2 events there. On camera switch required, and we want to go to on camera entry clicked, and we want to grab that. Not the ID, we want to remove this and put that here. We want to pull that here. New camera ID. Like this, so we're good with this. We just need to be calling that on camera switch required. So we're fine with this, and he's gonna want to on camera to ask for a camera switch. And which camera do we want to switch to? The camera in which we are actually where we actually play. So where do we play? The match players function is going to take care of this. It's going to match players all together and grant them a battlefield. And right now we don't have this, so we'll just create a new function, get player battlefield, and which is going to return an integer, and it's gonna take a string as parameter in player return value like this. Is gonna be pure. By default it's gonna return 0. We don't care for now. Get battlefield. So what player do we want here? We want our own player. And I think one of the way to get it is to grab our player controller, get our player states, and we might have some kind of reference here. So is the in-game HUD tied to the in-player state? Yeah, it is. So we're gonna promote that to a variable. Not that one. We want to cast into our in-player, and we want to promote that to a variable. Player state ref like this, and we want to do basically the same thing we've done for the game states. So we want to duplicate, we want to paste. We don't want to get rid of everything, we want to get rid of this. Okay, that's fine. Player state ref, we want to pull that in here, remove this, call that return value, pull that here. Player states, hit compile, get player state ref. So we want to grab that, and we want to grab his name, and we want to pull that here. And we might want to do something real quick. We want to go to our player state, and we'll create a new function called get nickname, which is going to return, by default it's going to return the player name like this, and we're gonna check wherever we call this, we're gonna call get nickname instead, except here. Well, actually it's the same thing. So get nickname like this, and we're gonna paste this and find everywhere we're using that, and we're gonna remove every other. Get nickname like this. Want to get rid of this, want to paste that. So the find blueprints, find blueprint is gonna be there. Start traveling players like this. Control click to drag wires. Check for local player, we want to drag a wire. The reason why we are doing this is that because if some, oh, we can't do that because it doesn't know, the player controller doesn't know our player state is actually a player state. It knows it's a default player state, but that's it. And if we are casting the fail, we're gonna pull that here. So we don't want the player name, we want the nickname indeed. Cast to BP player state. Yeah, we don't want that. We want that. If we hit compile there, yeah, everything is fine. Get player name text, we don't care. Get player name. So the reason why is if we have to modify all of the logic using that someday, we will just be able to modify the logic inside that function instead of replacing this everywhere we used. So I guess we're fine. So we can get rid of this and that. Oh, we forgot to compile, but it doesn't really matter. If we hit play, it's gonna compile anyway. Oh yeah, so it's already asking for, yeah, it's already asking for a camera switch. So where were we were there. So in here we want to ask for a camera switch, and if we go to recruit phase, we want to go, where do we want to go? In -1. So we are in -1. We go to combat. We go back to -1. So that's fine. We'll just do something real quick to offset the camera pivot. That way we can better see where we're at our spawn and where we're not. So the camera pivot is actually going to have some kind of variable, set relative location. And how can we move that on the x-axis? Well, are we gonna do it that way? Yeah, we can. Make vector x promote to variable camera offsets. We're going to remove this from here. Actually, in here we want to do that. So if we are a local zone, we don't want that. If we are a local zone, we're going to have an x offset of like 300, but it's not being called in construction script. So I think we just need to pull that in here. So yeah, this is gonna be get fight zones. Okay, so we are getting the reference, and now so we need several functions for that. So this is gonna be oh, it didn't like the fact that I store fight zone reference like this. This is gonna be offset fight zones, and this is gonna be set local battlefield, and we want to put that in here. This is not gonna be get fight zone, this is gonna be initialize fight zones like this, and we're gonna hit compile, hit save, go back there, and I think we can we see the fact that it's being offset here? Where is the camera pivot? I guess we're gonna hit play, and it doesn't seem to be working. So the fight zone is -1. The battlefield, we should see that. We're gonna open up the camera pivot, put the billboard up and increase its size like this, and make that, I don't know, red. Oh, we can't. Okay, we can't. We don't care. So where is it? So it's not offset. Okay, so it's offset only if it's not local. So that's actually exactly not what we want. So that was my bad. So when we initialize them, we're only offsetting the location if it is not a local battlefield. So it's not 300, it's -400. If we're hitting play, so yeah, it seems to be working. So we're at the base, we're in combat. We're at the base, we're in combat. And of course, right now we can cheat the system, and it's gonna break it. Yeah, so it's breaking the system, but it doesn't really matter for now, because we'll be able to enable and disable them wherever we switch phases. So for now, we're just gonna let the logic work. Or maybe we can do some easy stuff when we enter a new phase. So actually the camera pivot should be handling himself that logic. So I guess we'll fix that. So the camera pivot is actually going to have a new, not the camera pivot, my bad, the camera switcher is actually going to have a new function called onPhaseStarted. New parameter, game phase, new phase, and we're going to paste the logic here. not that logic. So battlefield camera pivot, we don't want that. We want to remove this, hit compile, go back to the camera switcher and pull that here. Oh yeah, we can't, because we don't have a reference to the player state. Neither do we. Yeah, it doesn't know that. So for now, yeah, for now we're not going to do this. Control Z until we go back to on phase started. We don't want that. Yeah, hit compile, hit save, go back to in-game HUD. We want that. So in here we could be deactivating the buttons, but we're not going to do this. Deactivating the button of the camera switcher in order to make it so we can't teleport our camera while we're currently while we're not in the right phase. We can see how much they are unsync, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for now. It's gonna be sync anyway. So we have some kind of phase alternance logic, and I guess it's going to wrap up that video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.